Welcome back to Everything You Need to Know About Children's Picture Books, and today I want to show you my favorite vintage bookstore find, Gordy and the Pirate by Crockett Johnson. Now, I picked this book up solely because I recognized the artwork and the name Crockett Johnson as the creator behind Harold and the Purple Crayon, and I was not disappointed. I really wish that Gordy had achieved the same notoriety as Harold because this book is so sweet and impactful on a really emotional level. It probably wouldn't be published today because it is long and the equivalent of a 4 to 5-year-old chapter book, and there's not a lot of illustrations. But I can absolutely see myself curled up on a couch with a small child reading this book over and over again. It's called A Walter Mitty Tale for the Very Young. And for those of you who don't know who Walter Mitty is, he's a man who just lives in his own imagination, and that's what Gordy does throughout this book. It's a meandering book, as we can tell from the title, Gordy and the Pirate, and the Circus Ringmaster, and the Knight, and the Major League Manager, and the Western Marshal, and the Astronaut, and a remarkable achievement. And it's this remarkable achievement that really makes this book stand out on its own. The story follows Gordy as he comes home from school. And the first thing he meets on the way is a pirate. And that pirate is desperate for Gordy to come join him on his pirate ship searching for buried treasure. But Gordy can't. "No," said Gordy. "I promised for once to do it." "Promised to do what, mate?" said Deadeye. "I promised to come straight home from school today," said Gordy. Deadeye Eddie's scarred face fell. "Ah," he said, "hard lines, mate." He stepped through the hedge on his wooden leg and looked back, waiting hopefully for Gordy to change his mind and break his promise. Gordy merely waved and started up the path. "So long, Deadeye," he said. Gordy continues along his way and meets a circus ringmaster, who wants Gordy to come join the circus and be a bareback rider for him. But Gordy can't. "I just can't," said Gordy. "I promised to come straight home from school today." Now, as this book progresses, every time Gordy keeps his promise, you feel how hard that is. It's hard for Gordy, and it's hard for the person inviting him to play. Look, a silence fell. The ringmaster stamped a boot in dejection, and the horse stamped a hoof, and there was another silence. But Gordy has a strong resolve and continues on keeping his promise, despite his imagination trying to pull him away. Next, he meets a Western Marshal who needs Gordy to help him arrest a notorious outlaw gang. But Gordy can't. "I can't go in after Rat Rattler and his gang," said Gordy. "I promised to come straight home from school today." Gordy meets the manager of a Major League Baseball team who needs Gordy to help him win the world championship. But Gordy can't. "I promised to come straight home from school today," said Gordy. Bogey Bronson thrust out his jaw and leaned forward as if to argue, but no words came. He swallowed and pulled the peak of his cap over his eyes and slowly sauntered away. Gordy felt terrible. He wanted very much to play in the World Series. But Gordy continues on and meets a knight in shining armor who wants Gordy to come save the castle. But Gordy can't. He promised to come straight home from school today. And then Gordy meets an astronaut who needs Gordy to help him pilot a rocket ship to Venus. But Gordy can't, because he promised to come straight home from school today. As you read through this book and you feel that pull and that debate and temptation that Gordy goes through the whole book, you're not really sure what to feel about it. But it's this last page that really sets the book apart. And it really has such an emotional impact that I'm not going to explain it to you. I'm going to let you experience it for yourself. He was sad about the colonel who had his heart set on going to Venus and now would have to wait another year. He was sad about the castle he might have saved, about the circus that had to go on somehow without his bareback riding, about the marshal who had so desperately needed his fast two-gun draw, about the baseball champions that would not get into the World Series without him. He was sad about the pirates sailing off with the treasure and with nobody to share the fun of spending it. However, his sadness very quickly wore off. As he neared his house, he strode along quite happily, even showing signs of being pleased with himself and proud. Today, he might have flown to Venus. He might have been a king, a circus star, a legendary figure of the old frontier, a baseball hero. He might have sailed away on a pirate ship with a fabulous treasure trove. But for Gordy, such triumphs were not new. What he had done today was come straight home from school for once. And for Gordy, that was indeed a remarkable achievement.